A very warm welcome. You are watching Diaspora Fusion right here on Look Up TV. I am Nancy Nalima. Welcome to the program. And on Diaspora Fusion, we talk about Kenyans who are living abroad. What are their challenges? And on today's show, we are talking to Nancy Karimi, who is a business owner in Dubai. But first, let's take a look at a little history and facts about Dubai.
Dubai, the most populous city in the United Arab Emirates and the capital of the Emirates of Dubai. Dubai aims to be the business hub of Western Asia. It is as well a major global transport hub for passengers and cargo. Oil revenue helped accelerate the development of the city, which was already a major mercantile hub. Dubai's oil output made up 2.1% of the Persian Gulf Emirates economy in 2008. A center for regional and international trade since the early 20th century, Dubai's economy relies on revenue from trade, tourism, aviation, real estate and financial services. According to government data, the population of Dubai is estimated at around 3,400,800 as of 8th September 2020. The official language is Arabic, although English is the most commonly used language in all areas that incorporate tourism and commerce. Hindi, Farsi and Urdu are also widely used. Dubai's geographical proximity to Iran made it an important trade location. The town of Dubai was an important port of call for foreign tradesmen, chiefly those from Iran, many of whom eventually settled in the town. In 1958, Dubai used revenue from trading activities to build infrastructure. Private companies were established to build and operate infrastructure, including electricity, telephone services, and both the ports and airport operators. Dubai's landmark building and major tourism attraction is the Burj Khalifa, which at 829.8 meters is the tallest building in the world, and for most visitors, a trip to the observation deck of the 124th floor is a must-to-do while in the city. Most famous of the city's points of Dubai's mall is the city's premier mall and one of the city's best place to visit for a day of shopping and indoors activities to keep kids busy. It provides entry to the Burj Khalifa as well as the Dubai Aquarium. The shopping and eating is endless, and there are nearly always special events such as live music and fashion shows within the mall, such as the annual Dubai Shopping Festival in January and February and the Dubai Summer Surprises Festival in July and August. Dubai's excellent museum is housed in the Al Fahidi Fort, built in 1787 to defend the Dubai Greek. In its history, the fort has served as residence for the ruling family, a seat of government, garrison and prison. Restored in 1971, it is now the city's premium museum. Dubai is a relatively crime-free place where administrative efficiency and openness to business have encouraged outstanding growth. However, criticism of Dubai's authoritarian government and ruling elite is not tolerated, and there persists an atmosphere of discreet corruption. Known for its state-of-the-art infrastructure, Dubai is arguably the top business gateway for the Middle East and Africa.
Welcome back to the program, and with me on set is Nancy Karimi. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes, and we are talking about businesses in the diaspora.
Yes, sure.
You are a Kenyan living in Dubai. Let's just first start from were you born in Kenya?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was born in Kenya. I'm very Kenyan.
Okay.
Yeah.
You schooled in Kenya.
I schooled in Kenya and worked here too. Yeah, before I went away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you leave the country? What was the reason? Was it for work? Was it vacation? And then you found yourself staying some more and some more.
I used to visit the United Arab Emirates, which, you know, Dubai is a part of Dubai United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
So there are 7 Emirates which make United Arab Emirates. I used to go to Dubai and Sharjah a lot through my previous work, because I used to work for an airline at the time. And so it was one of those places I visited but never thought I would go and live there. And then so many things happened in life, and for some reason I just found myself in Dubai as an employee. So I went to work in Dubai originally. Yeah, and that was in 1997 actually. Yeah.
And then, so working in Dubai, you went as a professional?
Yes, indeed. I went as a professional. I was working for a freight firm, and I was doing sales for them for the company that had employed me at the time. And I used to do marketing and sales for Dubai and the Far East. So it involved a lot of travel between the United Arab Emirates, where I lived, in Dubai specifically, and, you know, sourcing clients from markets in the Far East, China, Japan, you name it. Yeah, but based in Dubai.
Okay.
Yes.
Then, so how long had you worked and then you decided to start a business?
Okay, I think I had worked for about, let me say, 6 years. I left my first employer because that contract was like 3 years, and then I left my first employer and changed jobs within Dubai to a second employer who happened to be a Kenyan company.
Oh.
Yes, so I joined the second company, and then over time a need arose. One of the challenges that I faced as a black woman in this land is a place to do my hair.
Oh.
Yes. You know,
It's always a challenge when it's different there. When people have maybe a different kind of hair.
True story.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember one time going to a salon where they did hair for people from the Philippines, you know, and they tried to blow dry my hair so that it could be their texture. I remember crying, for real.
What was it, like, too hot?
It was hot, and then they kept blow drying it.
Trying to make it so straight.
Yes, I told them my hair can't be as straight as yours.
Ours is curly.
Ours is curly. So anyway, before that, the 3 years that I used to work for the previous company, my hair was just horrible. Yeah, and so in this second job, I had the opportunity to travel home more often. So I remember I used to have to go to a salon at Terminal 2 those days. There was one. Do my hair before I actually called to be picked up. So anyway, when the need arose for me to have when I realized that there was a need for African women, and there were more now coming in, yeah, we needed a place to do our hair. When I first landed, there were very few of us, yeah, but at this time there were more Kenyans coming in and other people from other African nations, Caribbean, you name it. Afro hair is all over, yeah. So I decided I was going to do this thing. I was employed at the time, so there was the challenge of how do I do business when I'm employed? I wasn't ready, yes, to leave employment. And then there are rules and regulations that if you're employed, you can't have a business. Yeah. But in my case, I got a special exemption. I sought for it. I went out and I said to my boss that I needed to do this, and it was not in conflict with my job at that moment. And so my boss, who's also on a special work permit, yeah, who's also an employee, is a Kenyan.
Okay.
They had to send me to the Arab who sponsored us, because everybody who works in the United Arab Emirates at that time required a sponsor. We call them sponsors, you know, in the sense that they own the business partially, and they're the ones who sign your work permits.
Okay.
So I was given special permission by the Arab sponsor at that time,
Right.
yeah, to start a business even though I was employed, and agreed with my boss that there was no way that I was going to use company time to run my business, and it was possible. Yeah, and it was possible.
So you made him know that you're not going to slack on your duties. You're going to deliver anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I was the sort of person who met my targets and etc. And, you know, very professional. So I took my leave, set up the business, employed staff, some of them from Nairobi, to be precise, and then the business started running from there, and there was no conflict at all. There was no conflict. So that was in 2004 when I set up an Afro hair salon in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Yeah.
You had seen the need. There was that gap in the market.
There was a gap in the market, and I won't say mine was the first one, because there were other salons, but mostly run by Ethiopians who have a different kind of textured hair.
Yeah.
So the kinky Afro hair had very few, if any, places. In fact, I think there was only one other, owned by Kenyan too.
Okay.
Yeah, owned by Kenyan too. So mine was like the second one, for Afro kinky hair.
Okay, and now starting a business in a foreign land, and Dubai to be specific. So how do you go about it? How do you go about registering? Is it with legalizing it, paperwork?
Okay, so the paperwork is, first of all, at that time, we required, remember I've just said that even for my own work, our business required a partner, an Arab partner whom we call a sponsor, who takes care of work permits and everything else. So it's the same thing even for setting up my business. I was required to find an Arab partner, who essentially stands in for work permits, signs work permits for my staff, even though she doesn't know them. Yeah. In my case, I got a woman. Yeah, it was just easier for me to relate to a lady, and then you go to the department that registers business, which is the Dubai Economic Department. Yeah, we registered the business, and then we go to the court, so to speak, where you sign a document that shows you're the owner of the business, and this a lady or this sponsor, the Arab partner, is just that. Yeah, she's a sponsor of your business. She doesn't own your business. So what are her liabilities? What are yours? All that is in a document that is signed and notarized at the courts. Yeah, and then after that, you're good to go. Find the premises. Yeah, you have to pay the rent for the premises. Your staff have to be housed. Yeah, then you're good to go. When the staff come in, you bring them in with valid work permits and work contracts. Yeah. So by the time the staff is leaving, whichever country you're getting them from, they're coming in knowing what their salary is, and they also have a contract, which is filed with the Ministry of Labor. Yeah, and you also have a contract. I mean, a part of the copy of the contract as the employer, and the employee also has their contract. I say this because there's always a lot of bad publicity about the Arab world and how staff are treated in the Arab world. I can tell you for sure that by the time anybody comes to work there, and I'm talking about the ones who come with a work permit, because there are others who come with a visitor permit and then they start looking for jobs when they're there. That's different. But once you already have a job, you've now been employed, you must have a work permit and you must have a labor contract, filed in 3 different places, and there are different kinds of work permits. I probably, have time to talk about that, or can I talk about that right now?
Yeah,
sure. So the work permit on which the staff come, there are 2 kinds of work permits. You come on an unlimited work contract, whereby I tell you, you're coming to work at my business, and the contract which is provided by the government is a 2-year contract. And during your 2-year stay here, I'm providing you with accommodation. If I don't provide you with accommodation, I'm required to give you housing allowance, and transportation too. So during these 2 years, this is an unlimited contract. The probation is 6 months. Some jobs are 3 months, depending on the rank of the jobs. Doctors, lawyers, managers, etc. will have 3 months. Others have 6 months. So let's say the workers at the salon, the 6 months probation period, during which you can decide whether you're staying or leaving. During the 6 months, you're paid your monthly salary through the bank. That's a requirement, by the way. All salaries are paid through the bank. And then after the 6 months, if you're staying, we are together for 2 years.
So during this period of probation, then one decides if they can actually handle the kind of job or not, so they are free to decide.
They're free to decide. If you're not happy within the 6 months, you work, I pay your salary and you leave. remember, before they came, I'm also responsible for their ticket, their one-way ticket to work. And they are boarded, of course, if they show a work permit. Otherwise, they will not be allowed a one-way ticket. And then you now have to pay for the person to come back.
Okay.
If they are within the 6 months. Yeah. After 6 months, then you're with me for the 2 years of the work. I do your work contract, your work permit, and if you want to leave, you provide a 1 month's notice. That is all that is required. You provide 1 month's notice, and you get your ticket and you leave. You leave the country, cancel the work permit, and you leave.
Okay.
That's an unlimited contract. Then there are limited contracts, whereby you come and you are bound to your employer for those 2 years.
Okay.
If you cancel the contract of an unlimited contract, of a limited contract, then you are supposed to pay your employer your salary for 6 months or 3 months, depending on what the contract says. You refund their money because they incur a lot of expenses in bringing you here
to get you.
Yes, including medical tests, by the way. Everything that you require in the country while you're there is your employer's responsibility.
Okay.
So those are the kind of contracts that we have. Some people don't understand their contracts. They come and then they don't like the employer and they want to leave within the probation period, or some of them come with unlimited contracts and then they want to leave, or they want to leave, not necessarily come back to go back to their whatever countries they came from, but they want to move to another employer. You're limited.
Okay, so then there is a need for people to read their contracts, possibly take them to a lawyer.
Precisely.
To break it down for them.
Precisely.
To understand.
And before, at the time I set up my business, or even when I went, there was no embassy. There was no United Arab Emirates embassy in Kenya, and even in many other African countries, for example. And so a lot of people didn't have a place to go to before they left. But now there is a United Arab Emirates embassy in the country, and I believe they're making an effort to have a look at the contract before you go, so that they can explain to you exactly what this means. And the contract is both in English and Arabic, and so you understand what kind of job you're going to. Is it genuine? Some people have received fake contracts or whatever, So the United Arab Emirates is now very helpful in ensuring that by the time the employee comes, with a work permit, with a contract, it's very clear exactly what they're getting themselves into. And when they're there, they're your full responsibility. When they arrive, their salaries, meals may be included or may not be, depending on the kind of contract that you have. They are your employee to the time they board a flight to go to wherever, whether alive or, touch wood, in a coffin. They're your responsibility. Remember that Arab partner I told you about? She signs for these work permits. She doesn't know who these people are, because I say, here is Nancy. I want to recruit her as a manager or whatever, and she signs the work permit.
So part of her responsibility.
If you're arrested, if you're sick, if you drop dead, we are responsible for you up to the last moment, as long as you're on our work permit. And then I personally allow my staff the freedom to move to another employer if you wish to, because I've also been given the same freedom by my employers. So if you reach a point where you feel like, oh, I can't really deal with it here, with 1 month notice, I pay you and you're free to go. And you're free to go.
Okay, so what's the nature of a salon in Dubai? Majorly, who are your major clients?
Okay, to begin with, the salons will be specifically female or male. There are very few unisex salons. Those are in designated areas or maybe in a 5-star salon.
Okay, that's so being that it is a Muslim state.
It's a Muslim country.
Okay.
So it's a ladies' salon. Only ladies are allowed. Young men can come in with their mothers, up to a certain age, they can come in to do their hair. So the clientele is anybody with Afro hair. Remember, there are some black Arabs too. There are Kenyans will be, top of the list when they hear they're Kenyans hairdressers somewhere, they will go there. Otherwise, it's the entire African diaspora, Americans, Caribbean, you name it. I mean, black hair is all over. Yeah. So that's for the salon. I have a second business as well. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes. But in terms of clientele, it's across the board. Yeah, it's across the board. It really opened up my eyes as to how far the black diaspora is. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. So, I mean, somebody from Suriname has black hair. They will land at your salon. Somebody from India, yeah, they have black hair. They will land at your salon.
So everyone with Afro kinky hair.
Yes, Afro kinky hair. And remember, we also have a lot of interest in braiding from other communities too.
Yeah.
So you have people from Iran coming to do their braids. You have, you know, Caucasians have coming to do their braids. It's huge. Yeah. They really love
and what
it.
about the prices? Say if you compare with Kenyan salons.
Yes.
So the amount we do for braids.
Yes.
Or a weave.
Yes.
Or something. So is it different? Is it more expensive there?
Okay, obviously it will be more expensive because the cost of living is a little higher there. And so I tell people, if you convert into Kenya shillings, you will never do your hair or you never do anything. Yeah. So yes, it's slightly more expensive. Let me say it's like maybe like 30% more than I would pay for hair here. But then there's also the thing of, you know, we are importing all the products. Yeah. There's no company that does hair extensions there. Everything is imported.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's one of the challenges that we faced when we first started doing the business there. It was there was a question of where do I get the braiding hair. I used to fly home to actually buy hair locally, but with time, then we started having all these imported stuff for the chemical relaxers, the hair extensions, whatever we needed is now available locally. I would say 80%, 20% we still have to import from somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and in terms of maybe the products that you use, so everything, even from say the relaxers
Yes.
and salon equipment,
Yes.
that is also imported.
That's also imported. Thankfully for salon equipment, there are several shops that deal with salon equipment, so you get that locally. Yeah, and whatever you can't get, really, you find a place to import from now, especially now in this era of, you know, looking online and ordering from wherever. Yeah, but I would say right now we are well covered in terms of products for Afro hair. Yeah.
And the natural hair movement.
Yes.
Did it affect your salon, or have you then adjusted to making more natural hairstyles and just styling natural hair in general?
Believe me, we are very international, yeah, and we've noticed that change. You know, we are using less relaxers. There's more dreadlocks. There's more. Then we are into the natural hair movement. Believe me.
Okay.
Yeah. So you change with the times.
Yeah. So then you have specialists who can style, and you know, maybe someone who needs a little gelling on the hair, and someone needs rollers but for natural hair.
True.
So you have adjusted to the market needs.
Yes, we have. And one of the things that I normally tell anybody that I recruit is that you have to be an all-rounder. You have to be able to do everything. Yeah. So I'm lucky in the sense that most of my team members are people who can do the hair. You know, they can braid, they can do the dreadlocks, they can crochet, they can do everything.
Okay.
They can do everything.
And so your salon is specifically for hair, or does it offer?
We do nails as well.
Beauty.
Yes, we offer beauty as well. And then we have just moved to a bigger premises. Yeah. So we'll be able to do the body works as well. Yeah, the waxing, the you name it. Yeah, yeah. For a long time, we were only just hair and nails.
Okay.
Yeah, but then there's the need for all the other services. Yeah. So.
And what would you say about the profits and the business generally in terms of growth?
Okay. There's been growth year to year. Yeah. Then, of course, there's also the competition because there are other salons opening as well.
Yeah.
So the challenge is to always be, you know, above par. Yeah. To treat your customers with care. Yeah. And in terms of profits, I always tell people, I know it's generally said, follow your passion. I say, if your passion doesn't make business sense, then you're doomed. Yeah. So the numbers have to balance. Yeah. It is profitable. for us because of the way we've priced ourselves. We are medium to high end. Yeah, there are lower end salons. Yeah, everybody finds their niche. We started as lower end because of the area in which we are located, and then we moved locations, and we are now medium to high end. So everyone has their niche, and I hope they do make their money. Yeah, but for us to remain open, yes, the books have to balance.
Okay.
Yes.
And then maybe we can talk about the pandemic.
Yes.
The pandemic has affected all sectors.
Yes.
Including the beauty industry.
Yes.
Which you run.
Yes.
So how has 2020 been for the beauty industry, now specifically for your business?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I came home before the pandemic. I was caught up by the pandemic here for the lockdown. So luckily for businesses in the United Arab Emirates, I had an option to freeze my license. Yeah.
Okay.
So I froze the license, paid off the staff. Yeah, because everything had to shut down, including the salons. And then there was also the question of, this is a foreign land for the team members too. Yeah. So we made arrangements for everybody to go to their homes. Yeah. And the salon was closed. Yeah. And the license frozen in the sense that it is, we still pay for the license to be active in the system. Yeah. But we don't cancel the business, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it means the business does not end.
The business does not end.
Okay.
The business does not end. Yeah, and we revive the business in February.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the meantime,
yes,
you're still paying for the license.
Yes, we're still paying for the license. Yeah, and believe me, even the team members have been able to get a little bit of a salary.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it a salary. It's not the full salary, but everybody has been affected wherever they are. Remember, it's not only Kenyans in my team.
Yeah.
There are several other members. Yeah. So we support them in whichever way we can during the pandemic.
So a little stipend.
Yes,
to keep them afloat.
To keep them going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we will be back to talk about your other business, because we just really want to understand how Kenyans are running businesses out there in the diaspora, in foreign countries.
Sure.
If they are really doing okay, your beauty industry, your beauty salon is profitable. And we'll be back to talk about the other business.
Sure.
Yes. We are taking a short break here on Diaspora Fusion, but we'll be back with Nancy Karimi to talk about business in the diaspora. Don't go too far.
In this life, we all walk through loss, heartache, and disappointments.
Our eyes are opened, our ears are opened, our hearts are opened, our minds are opened, so that God can speak to us directly.
God is with us every step of the way.
So when you see how they were transformed through their relationship with Jesus, their encounters with God, it changes me.
Kibera slum. It's different and the biggest of its kind in Africa. With people drawn from different backgrounds, all united in their quest to beat the odds and change their lives. Amid a grinding poverty and neglect, theirs is a life driven by hope for survival, engineered by 3 P's: patience, passion, and perseverance. Join us on Look Up TV as we shine a light on Kibera's untold stories.
Turn your 50 bob into $1 million shilling investment. Changamka and Shindagari Chap Chap with Hometel. There's millions in shillings worth of prizes to be won. Send your 50 bob to paybill number 4040153 and get a chance to win 20,000 shillings daily. And each week, one person gets a chance to walk away with a Mazda Demio and another a Beth Mobility motorbike. Remember, the more times you try, you could be the winner of a fantastic Toyota Prado. Do not be left out. Send 50 shillings to paybill number 4040153 free, account name Lookup TV, and get yourself a Hometel lucky number. Changamka and Shindagari Chap Chap with Hometel promotion. For more information, visit www.shindagari.co.ke. Terms and conditions apply.
So wakani introduce, so nika graduate kutoka sigara, nikakuwa na kunywa pombe, nikakuwa na kula miraa na pia wanawake.
Life as we know it is complex. Some days are better than others, and we often say it's full of choices. But is it entirely?
Sasa hizo nimefura, macho yamefura, kila pali nimefura. Mtoto wangu namsikia tu kwa nyumba tu analia.
Alipopata mtoto akiwa na 3 months, my wife akapata cerebral malaria na akaweza kupass. Wednesday nikapoteza hiyo kazi ya BBC na bado ninamone.
This is why I did it. We take a look at different stories of pain, regret, anguish that have turned to healing, reformation and restoration.
Are you willing to pay the price for success?
Movement isn't progress, but progress requires movement. We have believers today who want 24 hours miracle, who wants 24 hours success, who want fast food victory.
And curry is a thickener. I don't know if you know that. It is a thickener and also a flavor for soup or stew.
Are you afraid of aging?
I believe in long life. So I know that as I'm growing older, I'm achieving more.
Okay, well, the easiest answer would be, yeah, of course you can have it all. If you want it all, you're going to have it all. But you're going to pay the price.
A woman is created to be when she is privileged to be in leadership.
Welcome back. You are watching Diaspora Fusion here on Lookup TV. And today we're talking about Kenyans running businesses in the diaspora. With me on set is Nancy Karimi, who is a business owner in Dubai. Yes, and just before the break we were talking about your salon business, and you have another business.
Yes.
Which is in the line of trade expos.
Yes.
Yes, now let's briefly talk about it. What does it exactly entail?
Okay. First of all, remember, even during the time that I set up the salon, I was an employee. And then we had another crisis. You remember the 2009 crisis?
Yeah.
The world crisis, the financial crisis in 2009? At that time, I was still an employee, but I saw another gap in the market there. A lot of people asking about doing business in Africa. Yeah. I am a marketing professional myself. And so I saw a need for having a business that promotes trade between Africa and the Arab countries. Now not United Arab Emirates anymore, but the entire Gulf. There's a corporation, the way we have the East African Corporation, there's a Gulf Cooperation Council, which involves about 6 countries. Yeah, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, you name it. So all those are in one federation, and they call it the Gulf Cooperation Council. So I set up my second business, which is called Kwanza. And in this business, I signed up with the Dubai International Convention Center, which has trade expos throughout the year. Okay? And this expos...
So that's a lot like KICC?
Yes, like twice the size, you know, and very active throughout the year. You have trade expos related to IT, you have food expos, you have thousands, yeah. And so one of the things that really triggered me with that is, of course, during my other jobs, I would visit the trade expos. And one of the things, Nancy, I would find, say, macadamia nuts at the Singapore stand at a food expo. And then I said to myself, hang on a minute. Macadamia is not grown in Singapore. I've been to Singapore. Singapore doesn't grow jack, you know. Macadamia nuts are grown in my shags, to be precise, yeah. So I go around the entire expo, and there's not a single African country apart from South Africa, for example. And I'm not talking North Africa here, because North Africa is more like Arab, so they're represented. Yeah. You know, Egypt will be there with their big stand and all that, but Sub-Saharan Africa is not well represented. And so I said to myself, at the next expo, food expo, I'm going to have the macadamia from Kenya, from wherever they come from in Africa. Yeah, Africa needs to be seen at this expo.
Needs to be represented.
Yes, and so that was my inspiration for setting up the trade promotions company. So it's a trade marketing firm. I work with all the African embassies, yeah, to ensure visibility at the different trade expos.
Okay.
Yeah, all the IT startups and etc. We talk about them here, but who else knows them out there in the world? Yeah. Through these trade expos, for example, I brought the first Kenyan companies to one of the biggest trade fairs, food fairs in the Dubai Exhibition Center, and we now have one of the biggest Kenyan tea brands, yeah, selling in United Arab Emirates. Got them an agent, told them how to brand for this market, and etc. Yeah, so we do that for food, we do that for technology, we do that for you name it, and we're consulted by several African countries when it comes to how they can be visible in the Arab world. Yeah, they always think that, oh, you can come and do maybe a Kenyan trade fair or a Ugandan one or a Tanzanian one, but I always tell them no. Yeah, come and join other countries and be exposed internationally.
True.
Yeah, because the United Arab Emirates, yeah, is importing everything: food, meat. Yeah, we have a meat commission. Yeah. Who is buying our products? Yeah, we have the traditional European market. Yeah, but then the United Arab Emirates needs avocados too. Yeah, they need the bananas. They need, you name it, that we grow here. Yeah, and so that is really my passion. Yeah, and also on the ground, like for example, during the time that I've been here, I've been able to visit several companies and encourage them to export. Like next month there's a big trade expo, the food fair, the food fair, and I'm telling these companies, you need more exposure out there. Yeah, for example, here's a company that's doing ghee, and they find it very hard to sell ghee in the Kenyan market. And when I display ghee at a trade expo, I have 1,000 inquiries about ghee. Yeah, so you can have something which is not doing well in your market, but in another market, it's a hot cake.
Yeah. And you know that Dubai is let's say a hotbed for trade.
True, and it's a gateway to many other countries. So once you've been seen there, you know, your product will go to Vietnam. Yeah,
and even there are a lot of Kenyans who are trading, you know, a lot of clothes, beauty products, from Dubai to the rest of the world and to Kenya as well.
Yes, and for me, by the way, Nancy, one of the things that I like to do is to reverse the trade balance or imbalance, for example. So there's a lot of stuff coming from Dubai to here, but then what are we taking from here to there? The containers need to come back full too.
That's important.
Yeah, and I'm talking about value addition. If we can value add our avocados into avocado oil, let's have the avocado oil. Yeah, it competes at par with olive oil. Yeah, we import olive oil. Yeah, and yet you can value add our avocados to make a good product. So I'm more into what can we get from Kenya, from Ghana, from Uganda into the rest of the world. Yeah, via Dubai United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of the challenges that you experience in your business being in a foreign land?
Okay. Let me say the first challenge you will have is getting the right staff. Okay, the right team members.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, United Arab Emirates is an interesting country because there are locals, the people we call the Emiratis, the owners of the country. Yeah. And then there are people from many other countries living in this country. And it's the only country, or not the only one, but one of the few countries where there are more foreigners resident in the country than the owners of the country.
Citizens themselves.
Than the citizens. So, very difficult to get Emirati talent. Okay? So, most of the times we import labor. Yeah? And so, the mix of people from different countries, you have people from the Philippines working for you. You have people from Ghana. You have people from Kenya. And I will come to Kenya again because I have a challenge recruiting Kenyans right now. Some diplomatic impasse going on. Yeah, I haven't been able to get work permits for Kenyans for a long time.
Okay.
And it's something that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs needs to sort out like really quick, because I feel sad that I'm unable to recruit Kenyans unless they're already working there, or unless somebody has already been there before. There's some issue going on that needs to be sorted out. Yeah, and believe me, I've been to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to discuss this issue with them, and they're working on it, but it needs to be done faster. So once all these people come from India, from Nepal, from Vietnam, they're here now. Yeah, getting them to work as a team can be a challenge because everybody's coming with their own.
Yes.
Yeah,
they have been socialized differently, coming from different cultures.
Correctly, different cultures. Then there's also, of course, a positive side, because everybody is also coming with great ideas from all the different places. So there's that synergy. Yeah, there's that synergy. So it's just finding the balance. Yeah. Then, and I always tell them, don't look at the ways in which you're different. Look at the ways in which you're similar. Yeah. So if you're all, say, from Africa, you will find a lot of similarities. Yeah. The wedding ceremonies are the same. The foods are the same. Even the languages. Yeah. Can be very similar. Yeah. Zimbabwean Bantus and Kenyan Bantus sound the same. Yeah. So we tend to focus on the commonalities other than the differences. Yeah. Then of course there is. I will not say that it is something that I found as a challenge myself, but remember, in this country I'm a minority in four ways. Yeah. Minority as a woman. Minority as a black woman, and then minority in terms of the religion as well. Yeah. So, have I faced discrimination? Yes, I have. Okay, but have never let that put me down. Yeah. The laws are very clear in terms of what I can do and what I can do.
Okay.
I cannot do. If I find it is discriminatory, I'm the kind of person who will raise that issue with the authorities. Yeah. And indeed, laws have been changed because of what people have said. For example, there was a time that lawyers could not practice. Foreign lawyers could not practice in the country. Yeah, so it took a lawyer from a country that is not allowed to practice there to actually go and say, we think this is discriminatory. Yeah. And so they are open-minded and they change the laws. Yeah,
like they have to factor in people from across the world because they are the ones who are coming in to do business anyway.
Precisely. Yeah, and that has been taken into consideration. They're very open-minded in that case. And let me say that the discrimination that you may face in the United Arab Emirates does not always come from the Emiratis themselves. So I find people from other countries who don't understand Africa or have this view of an African, who kind of even, raise their eyebrows when they hear you speaking English, and they say, oh, did you school in America or wherever? I tell them, no, I schooled in Kenya, So there's always that thing where you have to be the ambassador for your race or for your country. Yeah, so you correct the misconceptions and then you move along. Yeah, but apart from the staff, a few racial issues here and there. There's the weather. It gets really hot at certain times of the year. We learn to adjust. Yeah. You're indoors most of the time. Everything is air conditioned. Cost of living is high. Yeah. Last year was a blur. There has been several changes. Yeah. I would not complain about last year. Yeah, because the pandemic also means that a lot of people left the country, and it forced many people, even the authorities, to look at even some of the laws regarding businesses.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to say that as of December last year, there have been changes. Yeah, I spoke about a sponsor earlier on.
Yes.
Yeah, an Arab partner required for every business. That has been waived for at least 122 businesses.
Okay,
yeah?
So you can just be a sole owner.
Correct.
Okay.
So now, for certain sectors, you can have your own business. You don't need the Arab partner anymore. Yeah. There are still several businesses that require the Arab partner, especially those that are related to the security of the country, etc. Yeah, those are different category altogether. And my businesses are set up onshore. There are also other businesses which I did not talk about because I've not been in the free zones, but there are businesses which are in the free zone. A free zone, we also have the FZEs here. Yeah. It's in the country, but the laws that apply to this kind of business are a little different. 100% foreign ownership and etc. So there are about 40 different free zones in United Arab Emirates, yeah, and you can set up businesses in the free zones as well. 100% ownership, 100% repatriation of capital and profits, yeah. So everything has changed as of December 1st, yeah. Okay. So in a way, 2020 was a good year because, you know, everything, even our own government had to give people tax concessions and etc.
To relax a few things, to keep people afloat.
Correct.
People to survive through the pandemic.
Correct.
And then maybe talk about the food.
Oh,
yes.
That's the other thing. Okay, food. You know, I'm the kind of person who's very adventurous with food, and you know, so I can eat foods from many other countries. Mm-hmm. But now, you will find African food, yeah, if you want it. There are several people from other African countries that have set up restaurants, yeah. So you will find African food somewhere. Food is a challenge, yes, indeed, yeah. But yes, you will find African
What about your social life when you're not working? Then how do you stay entertained?
Okay. Dubai is very liberal in that sense. So you can go out, have a drink within designated areas. There are clubs if you want to go out, if you're the kind of person who goes out clubbing. I do yoga, so I have my yoga club. Mm-hmm. There's also worship places, yeah. So, for example, you have a church within a compound, yeah, within the rules that are set by the country, yeah. So, depending on what it is that you spend your time doing, you will find something to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will find something to do. I wouldn't say that I have been challenged by in terms of social issues, because again my job involves a lot of networking and interacting with people, but the diaspora can be a lonely place for many people.
And you have been in Dubai for 20 years.
Yes.
So it means you have been away from your family from time to time. You come back home.
Yes, I do.
Like right now.
Yeah.
But you spend a lot of your time there.
Yes.
So without your family, how is it?
Let me tell you, during my time here, I've really realized how much I have missed. You know, the nephews I left when they were like 2 years old, and I've grown up men, you know. Yeah. You understand? I'm a grandma too, you know. My niece has a baby, yeah. So you miss a lot by being out there, yeah. I was lucky because in all my jobs, and being self-employed means I can travel more often, yeah. One of the other things I need to point out is that, oh yes, vacation for the staff. It's every 2 years, yeah. In certain jobs, there is the annual leave and they can travel, yeah. So for certain jobs, every year your employer pays your ticket and you come home for your vacation. But for the
so that has to be factored in.
Yes, it has to be factored in. Yeah. So the employer pays for your ticket and you come home for your vacation. Okay. Some come annually, depending on the job, and then some come every 2 years. Yeah, and then some will say even during those 2 years. For example, the salon contract is 2 years, every 2 years. So some of them will say, oh, I need to go home to see my people, and I will pay for my own ticket. Yeah, so that can also be allowed, because their vacation is 30 days every year anyway. So it's either 60 days, yeah, in the 2 years, or 30 days every year. Yeah, or 21 to 30, yeah. And they are entitled to 1 day off, 1 or 2 days off, depending on the kind of job that they have. Restaurant workers, one day off, 40 working hours maximum, and all those are factored in. The rules, in as far as labor contract is concerned, it actually favors the employee
more than the employer.
So don't listen to all those horror stories you hear about United Arab Emirates.
So that's the reality on the ground, that there are strict laws and regulations that guard the labor force.
Yes. And if I may switch Swahili here, uwezi kumdhulumu employee. Yeah.
Okay.
The rules are very clear, and you can be fined very heavily. Yeah. Your business can actually be closed if you don't follow the rules in as far as labor laws are concerned.
Okay.
Yeah.
And being that now you're working in a foreign country.
Yes.
But you also you have family here.
Yes, I do.
Your parents are
yes.
here.
Mom's here. A sister and 2 brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the investment back home?
Okay. Now investments back home. I never slackened on investing back home. I'm actually a member of a women's group, Achama. Yeah, the usual. And send money home. They invest in the usual plots. Flats
land,
and the land. Land, seems to be the favorite. So there is a time when you're busy running your life in a foreign land. Now, in the case of United Arab Emirates, unlike other countries, people who go to diaspora in Europe, in the US, Australia, they can talk about second citizenship. Yeah. Now, the United Arab Emirates or the Arab world diaspora are the must return home diaspora. Yeah. So you have to think of investing back home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sooner or later you have to come back home.
Oh, because then it's difficult to get a citizenship.
Yes, you don't get citizenship. Yeah. So you have to invest back home because eventually you will come back home. Yeah, hopefully alive. So you want to have a place to stay. Yeah, and you want to be able to lead a comfortable life when you're back home, because there's always the question of, when you're back from diaspora, then it's assumed that you have a lot of money. Yeah, so it's important to invest back home. It's important to invest back home. That's all I can tell the diasporans, especially those in the Arab world, and even those outside. I mean, countries like China, honestly, they were developed by returning diasporans. Yeah,
and even the remittances from last year. Exactly,
yeah.
Because when people work abroad, then they still invest back home.
Yes,
and that it helps the economic growth of whichever country that is.
True.
Now, in this case, Kenya.
True. Yeah, there's the remittances back home. Yeah, always support family. Yeah, and we do that in many ways. I mean, school fees, medication. You have aging parents, for example, who require medical care. Yeah, so all that. Yeah, but invest back home. That's all I can say. You must invest back home. Yeah. And Africa is the future.
Yeah.
Even though we're out there, we won't be there forever. Africa is the future. Yeah. I've been impressed by what I have seen during my stay in the last few months, and it's been very interesting. So I'm definitely going to be an investor here and there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, what are the plans for your businesses, given that this is a new year?
Yes.
It's post-pandemic.
Yes. Okay. Now, for the new year, it started on a very bright note. Yeah. For me, definitely going to revive my businesses and freeze all my licenses, recruit new team members, bring the ones who are already part of my team from wherever they are. Yeah, and frankly, I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Of course, we also have to look at, for example, I have 2 Arab partners now, the businesses that I run. Yeah. If it is required for me to keep one, I will keep the lady partner that I have because she's been very good to me. Okay. Not that the other one hasn't been, but the business, the laws now have changed.
Yeah.
So because I don't have to have that partner, the partner is also paid, by the way. Yeah. So that's an expense. Yeah. The partner is also paid a certain amount of money every year. Yeah, depending on what arrangement that you have. They work for you too. Remember I said they signed my work permits. They have never seen who they signed their work permits for.
Okay.
Yeah, so the partners are paid.
Yeah.
Yes, the partners are paid every year or monthly, depending on what you agree. Yeah. So, yeah. One partner will stay, one partner will leave. That will be solely my business. And I might also move one to the free zone that I told you about. And then I have a new brand of cosmetics. Yeah, so that is something that I'm really looking forward to.
And looking forward to employing more Kenyans.
Yes, indeed. As soon as they sort out this issue of this impasse of work permits for Kenyans, yes, I'm quite open to recruiting Kenyans. Yeah.
Okay. And then maybe just give a last word to Kenyans, both here and in the diaspora, about you being in the diaspora, being a Kenyan in a foreign land.
Okay, bravo. All I can say is that let us be good ambassadors for our country wherever we are, because remember, most people have never interacted with an African, for example. So you're representing not only your country but the entire continent. Yeah. Let's be prim and proper. Yeah. Let's invest back home. Very important. Yeah. And support our fellow Kenyans wherever they are. Yeah. Okay. This is one of the things that we also do when you're out there, because I said you're all alone, so to speak. Yeah. Then we also have to come together as Kenyans to support each other a lot. Yeah. During the pandemic, there were people who were doing it publicly. There were also people who were doing it chini ya maji, but we support each other in all ways possible. Yeah, in all ways possible. Yeah. And
thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
And just for this very enlightening discussion, because there's a lot that we hear, but it's just nice to talk to, get it from the horse's mouth. Someone who's experienced and been on the ground.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'd also add that, they should be ambitious. They should be, you're not bound to do small business in your country or wherever. Be open-minded. It's a big world.
Be open
to global village
and experience the world. Be exposed.
True story.
Yes. Asante sana. Yeah. And we've come to the end of Diaspora Fusion right here on Look Up TV. And the words of Nancy Karimi, who is a business owner in Dubai, a Kenyan with a business in Dubai. And she says we should invest back in the country and support each other as Kenyans and be brand ambassadors for our country and our continent as well. That is it from us. I am Nancy Nalima. Thank you for watching.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to views@look-up.tv. We can't wait to hear from you.